Hey everyone, and welcome to the 1.21 Gigawatts Top 10 Movies of 2017. Of course, this is going to be three separate lists. We'll all have our own top 10. I've got Peter, Matt's over there with the glasses and the hat,
Hey,
and Connor's the ginger down below.
Yep. Yes,
he
it is.
belongs.
Although, of course, for the audio people, there's no down below or anything like that, but I mean...
Oh, it is. He goes to the sunken place quite often.
So, we already did an awards episode where we picked, best director, actor, actress, that kind of thing, different categories. In this, we're all going to pick our top 10 films of 2017. We're going to alternate. Connor will give his number 10, Matt will give his 10, I'll give my 10, and then the 9s and so on and so forth. Obviously, there'll be some overlap. We'll chat as we go. Getting through this intro quickly because I feel like this is the sort of thing that could go a long time. So, we're going to get straight into it. And obviously, there'll be no spoilers for the films themselves. We'll give you spoiler-free reasons for why we're picking them. And with a bit of luck, we'll get three very varied lists that will hopefully give you a bunch of recommendations. And maybe give some love to some films that wouldn't get love at the Oscars or other award bodies. So.
All I know is Pete told me I couldn't have one movie for 10 spots, so I had to think of other things.
Well, you had two. You had the Chastain movie, Kong Skull Island, the Chastain movie, Kong Skull Island, the Chastain movie, Kong Skull Island.
Yeah? So a bit of a disclaimer. So, like, when we do these lists, these are just strictly our enjoyment of them, right? Like, yeah, we can get into
sure. Yeah, it's our 10 best of the year. It's our 10 favourites of the year.
Yeah, I think best and favourite are different words, in that sense. I typically do, what's my favourite?
Yeah.
There is technically a difference, but I think when you say these are my 10 best, like I feel like you're basically just in favourite as well.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It's contextual. I feel like if you're picking someone up on that, it's like, well, obviously they're picking their favourites. They're not saying Kong Skull Island's the actual technically achievement.
Yeah, I think I can say there are things that are technically better than movies on my 10, perhaps, but I enjoyed these most.
Yes. And of course, we're doing this now. In the past, we've done this at the end of December, but we wanted to give ourselves a chance to see some movies, more of the movies that we'd missed. And I think, looking at mine, I mean, I've got 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 that I didn't see before December on my top 10.
I've got 5.
So, it was worth doing in that sense.
I have none. So,
yeah, but that's because you're Mr. Mainstream, so all the movies you see at the theatre are the ones that end up in your top 10. Yeah. He's basically got his top 10 done by November. Like, nothing in December comes out for him.
Yeah, you're not wrong. No.
So, with that said, though, we'll get cracking into this, into these. So, we'll start with, we'll put Matt in the middle, because Matt will be the... I feel like me and Connor will be maybe a bit closer, even though it'll be very different. Matt's Mr. Mainstream, so we'll go Connor, Matt, me, and we'll go from there. So Connor, start us off with your number 10.
Okay, 10, creeping in, is the latest thing that is an entry here, is Lady Bird. Just about snuck on. It was fighting with another movie, and which is a shame that it knocked that movie off, because I really love that movie, but just about edges it out.
I told so, because otherwise it'd be a really bad year if only your top 10 were the ones you loved.
Yeah, no, that's true. No, I mean, I can go down to like 20 quite easily and go, I love all of these, at least, just off the top of my head. But this is an excellent coming-of-age story, and if you know from previous things, I'm kind of a sucker for those. I kind of just love them. And this is so natural. It's really funny, but has a heart to it. It's well worth watching. It's getting, obviously, this is getting actual critical reception in the awards, but with good reason.
Matt.
Yeah, so Lady Bird just missed mine. I had it at 11, so it's a good placement. But my number 10 is Baby Driver. So it's stylish. It's it's a whole lot of fun, and I love the fact that Edgar Wright chose to make music be the driving force for a film. Like, it's not a musical, but music plays a huge part of it, and I think that's really something creative to do in this day and age, and I think it worked out really well.
All right, my number 10 is Happy Death Day, which it's funny, like I was not expecting to like this one as much as I did when I went to see it, and I came out just with this feel-good attitude that I just saw. Not a darling, this deep drama or this tense thriller or anything like that. I just saw something that really worked with his characters. It was really fun, and it really played with all of its themes. It really felt like a movie to me that could have been made in the 80s, and that's the type of sort of, when it comes to stuff that is a bit more lighthearted, that's the type of stuff that I kind of gravitate towards. Is stuff that maybe could have been made in that era.
Was it a Blumhouse production?
I'm not sure on that one actually.
Because
I think so. I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think all horror anymore is just Blumhouse, but sometimes.
No, that's not true.
If it's horror and it's in the cinema.
Because no, because it wasn't. It's New Line, and New Line have got more horror films coming out this year. So clearly they made a lot of money off it and went, we want to make more of these. So
yeah.
But yeah.
That shocks me that you have it. I know you've been batting for that movie for a while.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't realise it was top 10 batting.
No, I like this a lot. I do have some honourable mentions to say, but I think we'll save honourable mentions for the end because I don't want to spoil what's not on the list. You know. Yeah, we'll say some of those at the end. But Happy Death Day, I thought was a really fun character study. Honestly, my only criticism is that it's PG-13, and had they turned it up so the violence of the deaths could, because the premise, if you don't know actually, is it's basically Groundhog Day, but with a serial killer murdering the main character. So she keeps dying every day, but with the killer and coming back and reliving the day.
They have a lot of fun with that too at certain points.
So yeah, my one criticism would be they could make that like actual proper violent, and I'd enjoy the deaths part of it. But it doesn't matter that it's not, because everything else like is just so much like fun. The characters are fun to be with, the arc and everything else is good. And it's inventive in places as well. So, Connor, you're number 9.
My number 9 is Coco. This is the latest Pixar movie, not the only Pixar movie of the year, of course, but is the top billing one, shall we say?
What was the other one?
And Cars 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Coco is spectacular. It really is. This is Pixar at its finest. Doing what Pixar does best, and it looks at it takes the culture, it takes the world, it turns it up to Pixar amounts, and just runs with it, and it's just incredible.
Matt?
So my number 9 is Happy Death Day.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
What is going on?
Yes.
So thanks to Pete, I've procured a love of horror movies, but not like, I don't go as deep as he does. I like the more fun. And this one, I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, I'm seeing that in the theater. And it surprised. I thought it was going to be this hokey, you kind of roll your eyes, but I ended up carrying a whole bunch for these characters. And why does this keep happening? Why is she Groundhog Daying her way through this day? And yeah, it was, again, I can't get over it. I can't believe Scott Liddell is responsible.
I know.
For making me care about a character. It's weird.
I just say, out of like the 60-odd movies I watched, that's around the 40 mark for me.
That's how I feel about Shape of Water, so
it just baffles me.
I watched about 70 movies in 2017, and Shape of Water is right there somewhere in the middle, just kind of languishing. My number 9 is Happy Death Day. That's a funny. Come on, that was a good joke.
He has been planning that for about a month.
Yes,
that was a good joke.
I almost went, Pete, you already said that. What,
yeah, then it hit. Then you got the joke. My actual number 9 is Spider-Man: Homecoming, which again, this is a year where a lot of the stuff that I expected to love, I ended up being only liking it but not loving it, and then there was like these surprises. And Spider-Man was the Marvel movie last year that I went in thinking that I would like the least, and I ended up coming out of it liking it by far the most, because the characters worked. It treated Spider-Man like he should be. It was a coming-of-age story, and the story had a real heart to it. And it was this journey of like him accepting that he is Peter Parker and not just Spider-Man. And he's outright a hero. He makes the choices not to kill. He makes the choices to do what needs to be done, even though it interferes with his life. And generally speaking, a much better villain than most of the Marvel movies as well. Which is not saying a whole lot, but I mean, Vulture was better than a lot of them.
He's the one that when they get to the sequel, I kind of sad when we not recast, but we pick a different villain because he worked so well, Michael Keaton in that role, and I like what they did to change up Vulture there too. So
it's great that I came out of that feeling enthused, feeling like they can still make good movies, and also that was easily the best Spider-Man movie. It's not even a question in my mind. Nothing else even comes close.
And I'm glad because that put Spider-Man 2 to bed. So
yeah. And you know what? That movie's not aged that well, and people like to talk about that. And I know this will really upset Connor, but I've heard people say that Spider-Man 2 has the greatest superhero score of all time, and I thoroughly disagree with that statement.
It's no.
And Connor's about to go into homicidal rage because of that statement. But
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to contain myself a little because, I mean, again, I like Spider-Man well enough. I didn't love it anywhere near as much as you did, clearly.
But no, it's also very funny as well as a comedy.
Yep.
It's a teen movie first that happens to also be a superhero movie, and because it has something else. I was gonna say, because it has something else at its heart like that, it works more than a lot of the other MCU movies have for me recently because it has this core story that it's about, and then it also has the superhero stuff on top of it. Like, it's used with it as opposed to, oh, we need to make a superhero movie, so we'll have a villain, there'll be a plot, and that's just a reason for the things to happen, so the superhero can look cool. So no, Connor, number 8.
And we're right, yeah. So this is actually the only comedy that will show up on my list because typically comedies don't get super high for me. But this is The Death of Stalin. I've been back to this movie. I saw it not so long ago. I loved it. It is basically set in Russia, but no one is using a Russian accent. But no one is using a Russian accent. They're all using just natural accents. And obviously Stalin dies, and it's about the power vacuum that he leaves, and what happens then, and all the clash of ideas of different schools of thought as to where it should go. It's a very political comedy, which coming from Iannucci should be no surprise. He did The Thick of It and Veep, so you could kind of know what you're expecting there. And I'm a sucker for a good British comedy movie. I really am.
So question on that: do they deal with how Stalin used to test his guards, that he would always say, "Don't come into my room"?
Yeah.
And so when he actually did die, nobody knew for 6 hours because everybody was afraid.
Yep.
Okay.
That's there.
I might have to check this out now. That's
Matt, number 8.
So my number 8. So this is, I feel like there's just a bit of an echo because my number 8 is Spider-Man: Homecoming. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how our list worked out.
What is going on here?
Yeah. No, Pete, way too long.
And Pete thought it was me and him that were going to have the really different lists.
Similar list.
Similar list.
Yeah.
But basically, for all the reasons that Pete brought up already, it's the best Spider-Man movie. It handles the character Peter Parker so well, but it also plays with the conventions of Spider-Man. And anytime you can put Martin Starr and Hannibal Buress in there and supporting roles and just let them be funny.
Oh, I mean,
it works out.
Great Aunt May as well. Donald Glover there, teasing Miles, all that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, now be a bad time to mention that Amazing Spider-Man's probably my favorite Spider-Man movie still.
Oh,
I want to punch you.
I mean, I like it more than some of the other ones, but still, compared to Homecoming, it's funny. I cracked a Happy Death Day time loop joke, but I feel like Matt's entire list is a time loop of my list at this point.
No, because we're gonna start getting to things that I know aren't on your list.
That's cool.
Well, Peter doesn't have Kong, so
yeah.
My number 8 is Kong Skull. I'm kidding. It's probably too early for Matt for that to be his next pick. Now, my number 8 is actually Super Dark Times, which is a coming of age story but with a dark twist to it. It's set in the 90s. We've got these sort of loners and outcasts. There's an accident that happens early on that leads to someone's death, and the fallout of that, they're dealing with that secret. And also, the usual coming of age stuff, like the main character's kind of getting to know a girl and she's kind of into him, and there's the awkwardness of being asked out and doing stuff. But throughout the entire time, this dark secret's kind of lingering there. And what is it doing to him? What's it doing to his best friend? And it builds up to this thing. It's very suspenseful in really nice, subtle little ways. There is some obvious suspense later on where someone might be in danger, but early on, it's more or less kind of thing where, maybe one of those, you can tell that the kid who has the accident early on, you can tell he's kind of this idiot that no one really likes, and he's being kind of annoying, but he feels very realistic and authentic. I remember assholes like that in school. I remember those types of assholes. Sure. And this is set in the 90s. Now, I wasn't in high school in the 90s, and I was too young for that, but I remember the 90s really well. And it's not a movie that sort of banks on nostalgia. It's not doing that, but it's using the time period to kind of fit it into a setting. It feels like it's of a time, and it's really working in that sense. And partly because I feel like the movie kind of would suffer if they all had phones, because a big part of it is the kids go out for the day and no one knows where they are for 10 hours and then they come back. It's very something that's changed a lot.
When you could do
now.
that.
Yeah. But this is very of its time in that sense, where it's the 4 kids hanging out and they're just out all day before they go back to school. It's just the end of the summer. So Really good, really well directed, and very sort of nice, surprising ending as well. I thought the ending where it kind of like made its final point was a nice little twist on, and not a twist in a traditional sense, but it's like, oh, a twist, shock happened, but it kind of like makes a different point than I was expecting at the end. But when I thought about it, I thought, oh, that's actually quite a smart little point, and it kind of puts it in perspective of what it's doing to the coming of age story as a whole. So, yeah,
streaming on Netflix right now too. So
is it? Oh, there you go.
People want to check it out. He keeps suggesting it to me. I was like, no, you don't know me. But now I guess
I think
Netflix knows you better than most people do. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, Matt, I think you actually, this is one that I like that I think you would probably get into.
I might check it out now because again, it keeps suggesting it. That and Everything Sucks. This seems more like the better watch than Everything Sucks. So
the real takeaway from this here though is Matt hasn't seen this, so it can't be his next
that's
pick.
true. Yeah, that's true.
Nope.
Which leads us to Connor's number 7.
Yeah, so my number 7 is Kong Skull Out. No, it's not. It's the other ape movie.
I got excited. Excited.
Oh, I'm
How
sorry,
dare you,
Matt.
sir?
I'm
How
sorry,
dare
but yeah, War for the Planet of the Apes. This is an excellent revengey apey story. Not a significant amount of warring, but enough. Enough.
I want to rephrase apey, just in case someone might mishear you.
I stand by what I said. You can't talk after the last video we did.
Oh, I know, yeah. Sympathising with Sam Rockwell and 3 Billboards.
Anyways,
No, I love this movie. It's not quite as good as the last one, but it really closes off the arcs in a fantastic, natural way for who those characters are.
Ape together strong.
Yes,
So.
Matt, what's your number 7?
So my number 7 is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Controversial, I'm sure.
It's controversial to both of us, but for vastly different reasons.
Yes. So again, not my favorite Star Wars movie. Not close. But the places that Rian Johnson chose to take it, I feel this was his movie. I've heard arguments like, "Oh, Disney's ruining Star Wars." I don't think so. I think this flies in the face of some of the other decisions Disney's made, and this was what Johnson's.
I think the easy way to say that if this was a Disney movie rather than a Rian Johnson movie is it wouldn't have the structure that it does if this was going to be just a Disney movie.
Well, you mean it'd have a structure that works? Yeah, that's you're right.
Yeah, I mean, so and just everything. There's a lot that I feel there's parts of it that I went and saw this 3 times in the theater that I still don't like. I hate certain sequences, like when they go to a casino. I'm just like, what's he doing? What's Pete doing? Is he drifting through? He is. He's Supermaning.
Yeah, I'm
through
Supermaning.
space.
Oh, okay. That's what that was supposed to
Oh,
be.
did you not get that? Okay.
I know.
I thought he was stopping me from saying something, and I was like, I'm being vague.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing?
In case you're like one of the 4 people that saw
I'm sorry.
the scene.
Do you want me to actually go back so I can get in frame properly and like sort of do this?
That would have helped. I would have understood what you're doing then. Instead, you came towards the camera, and I was like, what are you doing?
But there are other parts where Johnson takes risks with characters that I really enjoy. And if The Force Awakens was kind of too, put Star Wars up on too much of a pedestal, I feel like The Last Jedi kicked that pedestal, out from under it and did its own thing. That's all I got.
I shan't say it. And if you go watch our Star Wars Last Jedi review, my opinion
we went on long enough.
will be heavily voiced there. Screw that stupid milk scene though. Just one little point. My number 7 is Logan, which also kind of fit in the theme of surprises, and not like I wasn't expecting not to like it, but. Like I don't know if I was expected to be as good as it was, or more specifically to be as emotional as it was.
Yeah.
I was not expecting, and I won't say what it is, but the final moment of this film, the final shot, actually got a tear out of me. And if you'd have told me before I saw a Wolverine movie that there was a chance I would be remotely emotional, I would have told you were a fool. This is ridiculous. And, I liked the Wolverine. I had a bit of a dodgy third act, but it was nothing close to being like, oh, I'm so into this that I'm going to be emotional about anything.
I haven't seen the Wolverine again since the theater. And it was fine, but it wasn't like this. It's hard to look cool as Johnny Cash is playing and you're sitting in the theater with tears streaming down into your beard. Like, you just can't. Or when you watch it with your wife at home and she looks over at you and go, "Are you okay?"
Yeah,
You know, it's just like, I'll be
Have
fine.
you seen the black and white version yet?
No, I haven't.
I'm holding out for it because I need space in between watches to steel myself again.
Yeah, I think that's going to be my next. The way I watch it next will be the black and white.
I need to do that with Mad Max as well. I need to watch the black and white version. But no, 'cause I think just to put this in, so first of all, it's just a good movie with the characters. It's got, again, I compared it to Last of Us before, but it is kind of got that thing where it's the disgruntled old guy. He's kind of lost his way. He doesn't care about anything. She kind of makes him feel again, and you care about that father-daughter kind of bond that forms between them. But on top of that, I think this movie, it actually encapsulates the idea of what a hero is, or more specifically, what the idea of the X-Men is supposed to be. And the final sort of message of the movie is very much in spirit of what X-Men is, and what the message of X-Men was always supposed to be. And I think it nails that in such a way that it easily is the best. I mean, I love First Class. I think this and First Class are easily my two favourite. All the Fox X-Men movies or tangential movies. Those are my picks. And I think this one, I think First Class is a better X-Men movie because it's the team doing X-Men-y things. Yeah. But this is the better film, if that makes sense.
No, I completely agree.
So,
and, you know, I like when they do stories where the X-Men are heroes first and mutants second. And I feel like a lot of the more recent ones really double down on the mutant stuff, which is fine. I mean, that's the X-Men in the comics and whatnot. But here, it's almost secondary that Wolverine...
Honestly, my only critique of the film is that, and again, I'll just to avoid spoilers, but the main sort of thing that it has to fight, I was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah. It's not as bad as in the Wolverine at the end.
Oh, sure, absolutely not, no.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's other stuff they could have gone with, but, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
it's one of those where I see what they're doing thematically, but
Yeah, I feel like we've kind of played this card in like these types of stories too much before that it just wasn't that interesting. It didn't ruin the movie by any means, but it was just like, okay, like the thing he has to fight's not that interesting on its own, but it's fine because everything else is so great. So, number 6, Connor.
Yeah, it's funny. It's my turn to have an echo because it's Logan. I will say, before this, despite the last 20 minutes, not the entire third act, but the last 20 minutes, the Wolverine was my favorite X-Men movie. No, maybe not the best, but my favorite.
Bullet Train seems pretty cool.
Yeah, Logan essentially is a remake of the Wolverine, but better. It improves in every way.
Every way,
every way. I agree, and like I said, I'm a fan of the Wolverine. I will defend it more than I probably should.
Is it the same director though?
It is the same director.
Yeah.
So he consciously remade. Okay.
I honestly think, because you can see the studio interference in the Wolverine for a start, especially at the end. But I honestly think he looked at that movie and went, "Okay, that was pretty good. I can do better, though. I'm going to give it another attempt," and just redid it and did it better, like I said, in every single way, and you get a fantastic movie.
Do you know what I think it is? I think Jackman, because he's like, hey, I'll do one more, it's my last one, but I think it's Jackman actually helping pull his weight for him that let the studio stand back and say, you know what, fine, R-rated, you have it, have your final cut, go do it. And it made for an excellent film, so... Great. Matt, your number six.
So my number 6 is War for Planet of the Apes, and it's hard not to put it on there. It was all fantastic. Again, well, it's a little bit farther of an echo. It's a little more faint, but it the themes that were at play here about what makes a good man or what makes a good ape person, whatever, are all there, and it got a little dusty in Planet of the Apes as well. Just. With the way that it goes.
All 3 of the Apes movies, I think, have been emotional at points. They all hit those chords. They all do it.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And so it just... I remember when they announced... what was the first one? Was it...
Rise.
Rise? I was just like, apes again? Really? We're going to do this? But I'm so glad. And this really caps them.
I feel like I tell that story. Every time this trilogy comes up, I tell the story about how when Rise was released.
We've avoided it today.
Yeah. And then Matt brought it up, so I'm just going to bring it up now. But it's how I'm like, who wants an Apes reboot? Who wants this?
Yeah.
And then this trilogy is better than the original film, and I love the original film.
So easy. Yeah, the original film's very of its time. It has the Rod Serling stuff going for it, but this filmmaking's surpassed what it was capable of in the '60s. to be able to tell this story now. Where
But that's
you
the thing.
can
I think it's better written as well. Like I feel like
I-
Dawn and
yeah,
War,
yeah.
especially, I think are better written.
Yeah.
That's the. I think I will take the original over Rise. Rise is still like up there, don't get me wrong. But I will take the original over Rise. But then Dawn and War just blow it out of the water.
And this is the thing though, because Dawn and War make a trilogy with Rise. Rise is also lifted as well, and it feels like a whole thing.
It's better as a
Rising
whole.
tide lifts all boats.
Yeah. So, no, can't argue with that. My number 6 is It Comes at Night, which is, like I said in the previous video, very tense, very atmospheric. It is a group of characters. Do you know how when you're in a post-apocalyptic movie and you're typically following the heroes who are traveling through the post-apocalypse wasteland, or if you're in a video game, you're playing Fallout and you're the traveling thing, and you'll find that one little shack with some people who have been living here for a while, and you don't know if they're crazy. You try, do we trust them or not? This is that story, but from the perspective of the people who have been living there, and it's the people who have come in are the outsiders, and it's that film. And it's all about, can we trust these people and the precautions that need to be made. It's about paranoia. And on top of that, you've got beautiful visuals. You've got the idea of the growing fear as well on top of the paranoia. Really atmospheric. But ultimately, the thing I want to really point out is just how goddamn tense like most of this movie is. And anytime where it lets up and you feel like, oh, people are starting to be not that tense anymore, you have that sick feeling in your stomach that something bad's going to change that soon.
You just know it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
This is a pretty damn good movie.
It's a tragedy through and through. It's a post-apocalyptic film in a really microcosm sort of way, because it is just like a house in the woods, but it is a complete tragedy. It's a tragedy in a post-apocalyptic world, which, I mean, you'd argue that post-apocalyptic already makes it a tragedy, but this is full-on tragedy within that.
Yeah, I didn't realize, so I just looked up Joel Edgerton is in it. I didn't realize that until...
Because he's in everything awesome.
Like,
Bright, I don't know, I mean...
I like Bright.
Oh, come on.
He's avoiding the really obvious shit he's in, but... Not recently, admittedly, but...
Aye. But yeah, Bright, no. What's your number 5, Connor?
Okay, so yeah, I've rolled my eyes a couple of times at some of your choices. This is where you pair will start to get your own back in my top 5, because my 5th movie is Blade Runner 2049.
I understand it. I'm not gonna roll my eyes.
Yeah, I can't get angry.
I took a nap and
not
woke
yet,
up.
not quite.
It didn't impact me watching the movie at all. So woke up, still atmosphere.
I mean, like I said, there's a lot of atmosphere. I loved it. I loved every second. I saw this on the biggest screen I could find with the most speakers I could find, and it is a masterpiece.
He was just
like
playing
that.
on the side of a building in his hometown.
Oh, if only.
I can't deny atmosphere. I think it's a bit long-winded, and I think I praise it over the original because I feel like he's actually doing detective work, whereas in the first one it's just enhanced.
Although any type of movie where we can have Harrison Ford just going around punching things, I'm kind of okay with. So that's what Blade Runner the original is to me. I'm just
I actually really like the character stuff as well. I think it's doing some really good stuff.
I do as well. I think it's just too long-winded. Like, I like when it's set up, and I like ultimately where all the characters end at the end. I like all the final beats they play out, and I like the emotion behind it all. I just think the plot to get there is the plot to get there just feels really long-winded, and I'm just
I will say honestly, my only criticism of the movie is Jared Leto.
Oh god, he's terrible.
Cut him out. It doesn't impact the movie much.
It doesn't impact the movie. I think you can rework this movie with his character. It's not even his acting. It's his character. It just doesn't need to be there. It doesn't add anything. It's better from a behind the scenes.
Yeah, and one of these scenes is just nothing but blatant kind of, hey, we can give you something else from the original in this scene, and it just felt like blatant fan service, which bugged me because that in the first movie didn't work for me anyway. And then on top of that, his two big scenes. If you cut those two out, you would probably chop out like 20 minutes of screen time.
Yeah.
No, I agree. That would make this movie, it's at 5 here already, but it might be even higher. You get rid of him because it's just is the only thing I don't like. It really is.
Yeah. His character's awful.
When I'd first seen it, I didn't. It was that, and then the stuff with his AI. What was it called? Joy. I really wasn't down with that. But
the stuff with Joy is some of my favorite stuff.
Let me get there. But the more I talk about it with people, and the more I think about it, it really I just think I got bored and was just bitter. Halfway through.
I will say this. the Joy stuff plays really differently in my head now that I've seen Lars and the Real Girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Because now it feels like a weird semi-sequel to that.
It does, doesn't it?
But I thought about it through different, talking with other people through different, and I ended up liking that, and that actress, I can't think of her right now. She did a really good job.
Here's
technology there.
Not a real disappointment, but a minor disappointment is that I really like, I forget her name, but from San Junipero, she's in it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I was hoping for more of her, and she wasn't really in it that much.
Yeah, that's fair. That's just expectations, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not a big complaint. Yeah. It's just So Matt, you're number 5.
So my number 5. Here's where we start, just really hammering down, and that's a pun, because you're not the god of hammers, you're the god of thunder, and it's Thor Ragnarok. I love this movie. I don't care. I understand it's flawed. I understand. But Taika made a comedy, and they're superheroes. You have Hulk and Thor smashing things, Jeff Goldblum hamming it up,
Here's the thing, Matt. See if you took out the actual plot and just let it be a comedy all the way to the end, I'd probably love this as well.
Yeah, I get it. Again, I won't fight people that are like, Thor didn't have an arc. I'm like, yeah, but it's fine because I enjoyed myself. Like I wasn't thinking about Thor's arc here. Again, Hela's a bit flawed of a Marvel villain, but that's par for the course at this point.
A bit flawed.
She's far from the worst.
Yeah, well, she looked cool. I mean, after the last Thor villain, after Malekith, I think anything's a step.
Talk about the bar being low coming in.
Yeah, so I love what Taika did. I love Korg and his little bit there, So it makes me laugh just thinking about certain scenes.
Man, I can't believe Thor wasted Eccleston and then went on to waste Blanchett back to back. That's quite impressive.
I don't feel like she's as wasted as Eccleston.
Blanchett at least has a presence in the movie.
Yeah.
For a little bit. There came a point where it became very clear she was never just going to do anything.
Oh, no, there's very little character, but at least when she's on screen, there's presence. Eccleston as Malekith, I was just like, he just stands there. He doesn't do anything. He has no presence. He doesn't.
And if you're familiar with that character from the comics, he's nothing but charisma. He is even more charismatic than Loki.
Oh, he doesn't shut up in the comics.
Yeah, and so the fact that you put Eccleston there and you don't let him talk and he just stares. So, yeah, I think it was an upgrade to Hela. And then you had Scourge. I almost said Oldman. Urban. Yeah, Carl Urban in there. And I can't wait. This comes out this week.
It's got a great cast. I can't fault the...
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it again.
I had a blast with this movie. It's easily my favorite Marvel movie of the year. Easily. I think it's great.
Too.
Spider-Man.
We had a good year for Marvel movies. I don't want to spoil anyone's list, but Guardians 2 was also pretty fun.
I was disappointed with Guardians 2.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I'm not spoiling the list. I like Guardians as well. Thor's easily my favorite Marvel movie of the year, and it's probably in my top 5 Marvel movies. But I'm biased. Yeah. So,
no shit.
All right, well, my number 5 then, to move us on from Matt's bias. My number 5 is Get Out.
More on Matt's bias later, I'm sure.
Oh, more on Matt's bias later, of course. Because there's a certain. I mean, we've had some apes from Matt, but there's one ape that's been absent so far that I'm expecting to show up. And the fact that we're getting into the top 5s now and he's still not showing up is really worrying, given the credibility of his list. But so yeah, my number 5 is Get Out. And I mean, obviously, unique horror film from a start. It's a horror film that's, again, it's like a lot of good horror films. It's actually a metaphor. It's an analogy for something else. And in this case, it's from a perspective who I've really never seen a horror movie before. I mean, this movie is about liberal racism, and I don't think I've ever seen a movie about liberal racism before. Not only a horror movie. No,
and it's that low key. I guess they call it microaggressions now. And I kind of hate that that gets thrown around, but it is. It's people that don't want to be viewed as racist, but they have racist viewpoints. I don't feel like they hate. It doesn't come from a place of hate, but it comes from a place.
Actually, Just I saw this on the interwebs in the last week or so. Obviously, Black Panther's been dominating at the box office and stuff. You know the scene where he's with the girlfriend's dad at the start, and he's like,
I
"Hey,
would have voted for Obama."
Yeah, I voted for Obama, right? Someone recaptioned that with, "Hey, I saw Black Panther opening weekend." That really cracked me up.
It's pretty great.
But yeah, so no, it's really good. Like we say, it's really well directed. Jordan Peele has a really good eye for timing and for tension and the way it sort of builds and camera movement.
And they always say that comedy and horror are kind of the same way, where you have to have that tension relief.
It's build up and build up and release. Yeah, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's great in that sense. But like I say, the best thing about it is that it is social horror. It is Night of the Living Dead, where Night of the Living Dead was about issues, it was about racism, it was about these things, it was about looking at a group of people and seeing how they react, like a lot of good horror movies are. This is the same kind of thing. This is analysing something particular, and I think I'm excited to see more from Peele in the future and what he does, but this was great, and it says something where there's a moment later on in the film where I was really worried about something that was going to happen to a character. Not because the film had really done anything to set it up, but just because it felt like something that happened in real life. And I was like, oh god, something bad's about to happen. And he almost plays with that expectation. It's also interesting, I learned later on that apparently some stuff was changed a little bit because of stuff that started happening in real life. The ending in particular. So obviously we won't get into that because of spoilers.
Yeah, you'll have to fill me in after so that.
There's also on the Blu-ray. There's a couple different endings that I thought were that they shot. They're there that they ultimately chose not to go with, and I think that's Peele again, how smart he is at these things.
Yeah, but no, I mean, obviously I love when horror is just really good and tense and scary, but when it actually is about something and it actually has something going on beyond that, is where it really starts to shine. And it does deserve to be in nominations. I don't necessarily, I mean, obviously it's number 5 for me. I'm not picking it as my favourite of the year, but out of the stuff that's up for nomination in Best Picture, it is easily the one that I think should probably win.
It's also easily the one that likely won't win.
Yeah, because you've got really old-ass Academy members saying, "Oh, that's not really an Oscar film." Why is it not an Oscar film? Oh, well, I've been on the Academy for 55 years. Well, that's why, asshole.
The sad part is, if it does win, as much as it might well deserve it, the cynics will come out and go, yeah, well, it only won because they thought they wanted to seem accepting. They wanted to seem like they were diverse.
Yeah. Well,
I feel that was Moonlight last year, though.
The same conversation happened.
Yeah, and it'll be this is the problem, is that we're not really getting anything close to equality when every time something equal kind of happens, everyone goes, well, it's only equal because people want to see them equal. Like, until that conversation stops happening, every time something that is generally good gets success, we're not actually there yet. Like, that's why we still need stuff.
Don't get me wrong, I don't think Moonlight should have won last year, it definitely should have been in the conversation, but I don't think it should have won. But it didn't win because of diversity. Like that's not the reason.
No. I mean, I've not seen it, but yeah.
But that's the argument to it, though. You know what I mean? Like,
I still feel bad for it though, because it got its moment completely robbed.
It got its moment shafted.
By the mistake, and they're bringing the same, Dunaway and what's his face back to present.
But it wasn't their fault that they were given the
it wasn't. No. And when you go back and watch it, you can clearly see the moment where one of them kind of notices something's not right, and they're like, no, maybe we shouldn't say that, and then she's like, no.
Right?
Yeah. You can see his face go like, this isn't right.
Yeah, something's wrong here.
He makes Dunaway read it because he's like, I'm not taking the fall for this one.
See, this is the thing. I don't think it was you read it. I think he was going, hey, have you seen this? This doesn't look right.
Yeah,
and then she just ran with it.
He's getting her to double check it, and she just sort of reads it as, I have to say it. Okay, I'll say it, and she just says it. You can see it play out. You can see it in their eyes when you go back and analyze it. You can see what's happening in the moment. But you feel bad for Moonlight because all everyone I wanted to talk about was the mistake, and then it's this weird thing where everyone thought La La Land won for a second, and
that's it. I understand why people want to talk about the mistake because it's a big moment, and it's that's the talking point. But I do feel bad for the movie itself.
Yeah, I feel bad for the director, the cast, everyone involved. But this has reminded me I still have to get to Moonlight. It's been on my... This is the thing. After we do our awards, I don't have a reason to get to all the movies from the previous year. So they just kind of sit there and linger for a while.
Yeah.
Because I was mean to get to A Killing of a Sacred Deer. I was wanting to get to that before this, and I never got to it. But now that I've gotten to this...
been like 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah, I'll just sit there for a while until I remember, I wanted to watch that. that one time. Anyway, so where were we? Yeah, 5 was Get Out. That was my pick. Connor, what's your number 4?
Okay, so my 4 is Baby Driver, which Peter's going to be like, ugh.
Oh, I'm saying that.
No,
That's my number 10.
Yeah, no. And this thing, Matt, obviously you picked this earlier. One of your comments was, it's not a musical. I think it is. I think
I don't think it is.
No, I think it is, because everything... the key thing about a musical is not necessarily they're singing, it's that everything is played to the music. Everything is worked around the songs. And usually you'll not do that. You'll put music to the picture. Whereas with a musical, it's like, no, okay, here's the music. Let's build outwards from there. And that's what this movie does. And I'm a big fan of that. And I had so much fun with this movie. It is such a thrill to watch. It's constantly moving. This is such a good pace to it that I just can't help but love it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think the story falters a bit in the last act. Like I really felt like it was waiting for him to get back into a car to do something really impressive in a car again in the third act. I felt like that was missing. But I
am a real big fan of that foot chase he does.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually kind of why I say that though, is because there's that big thing where it feels like he's naked. He's lost his superpower because he's not in a car, and he runs, and he eventually gets in a car, and finally he's in a car, and it cuts to the next scene, and we don't get to see it. There's okay, so it's saving the big car thing for the last act.
And I know some people have some problems with motivations in the third act of things just happening.
Oh, I do, yes.
And that's where I will say this is why it's a musical, because that's a very musical trope. Is just things okay, well, we got to fit what we're doing here now, so we'll just do that. And that's a very common thing in a lot of musicals, in my experience.
All right, so you're telling me that's why
musicals... I don't watch musicals.
That's why musicals generally suck then, that's what you're saying then.
Like I said, musicals are designed from the music outwards, and they falter around that, and they go, okay, what can we do with this then? What will get us to that point? And sometimes there are leaps because of that.
That is fun, but the story still has to work.
Yeah, fair enough.
Story still has to work. All right, Matt, number 4.
Speaking of stories at work, my number 4, Coco. It's probably my favorite Pixar movie since...
God, how high is Kong? This is insane.
Imagine if all this is just childhood. Kong's not even there.
Jesus.
But
I would never do that to you. Movie, anyways. No, yeah. Coco.
I'm starting to feel really tense. Every time Matt goes to say the next one, I'm like, oh my god, it's not Kong. How high is Kong? It's getting... Oh,
is Kong his number 1? I'm worried now. That was never in my mind before.
This is like the Royal Rumble waiting for Daniel Bryan to come out. Jesus Christ.
And it's always... But there's no Roman Reigns to take that spot, guys. So, but yeah, Coco. It's Pixar's best, and I can't tell you how long. I mean, people love Inside Out. I wasn't big on that one. But, this felt like classic Pixar to me. We talked about music, Baby Driver. The music works really well here. Yeah. And it really gets into that culture. And I'm a fan of any type of movie that can introduce me to a new culture. And, you get the broad strokes here. And the fact that it's just the colors that they use. You think you've seen Super Bright in Pixar before, and then the moment you get to the City of the Dead, and it's like nothing you've ever seen before.
Yeah, it's gorgeous animation, isn't it?
Yep.
And the culture, all of it feels so authentic as well.
Yep, it does, and down to the characters and the whole Day of the Dead ritual itself. You can be absolutely not familiar and come out feeling like you have a little bit of more of a grasp on it. And yeah, it's good to see Pixar back at the top of their game after, Cars 3 was fine and Monsters University is fine, Finding Dory, but them doing original content that just looks beautiful is really where they belong. And I say that as one of my most anticipated movies for 2018 is Incredibles 2.
Yep,
so
me too.
It's a bit of a hypocrite, but
that's because The Incredibles is the best Pixar movie, so...
That's correct. That's the bingo.
Not the best Brad Bird movie, though, because the Iron Giant exists.
I love Tomorrowland.
I thought Matt was going to go, either I'm picking a side, or like, oh, I'm not picking a side here, I'm not getting involved. And then he comes out with Tomorrowland.
I like Tomorrowland. I think Tomorrowland was unfairly bashed when it came out.
I agree. It's a pretty good movie. But,
yeah.
You could say that year Tomorrowland came out, it was my Kong Skull Island irrational pick.
I don't think it's super irrational. I think it's a bit on the nose at the end, and but I think the hopeful tone of that
compared
movie
to the Iron Giant, Iron Giant's a masterpiece.
Oh sure, yeah, no, Iron Giant's better.
I went for the joke there. I mean, I don't think really there's been no bad Brad Bird movie. I mean, even Ratatouille is probably down near the bottom, but it's still a decent movie.
No, it's still good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, my number 4 is The Big Sick. And I suppose I have to thank Matt for this, because Matt made me watch this for Overload.
Welcome.
Yeah. And I found a very charming tale with very likeable, believable characters and really awkward situations that felt genuinely heartwarming as it went on. You found this unique situation where a guy starts dating a girl, and he's like really into her, but then she finds out he was lying to her. They break up, but then she gets ill. She gets very badly sick. She's in a coma, and he ends up being the one who's there to kind of deal with her at the hospital. And then her parents come from wherever they live, elsewhere in the country, and it's a movie about him bonding with her parents when they've only known each other for a little while, and they've already kind of broken up. And it's this wonderful, unique situation that's like I say, heartwarming. The characters is great, and this is the thing, and I watched this not knowing it was based on a true story, which is almost a shame that I can't let other people do
Matt,
that.
Your mic's going.
Sorry? Oh, Matt's
mic's gone. Right. Yeah.
Sorry. It's almost a shame to me that other people can't watch it like I did, not knowing it's a true story, because I genuinely didn't know how it was going to end, and I was on the edge of my seat not knowing. But
you were nervous for it.
But for anyone else who knows the true story and knows that one of the writers is,
which I think is a pretty common thing that people know going in at this point.
But I didn't. And I actually think it made the movie even better for me, because I was like on the edge of my seat. And honestly, I think the final moment, the final scene, the final minute of this movie is one of the most fist pumping F yeah moments I've had all year in a movie. So
also a fantastic callback to earlier in the movie as well.
It is. And
usually you get earlier than the last moment.
And I think when a movie nails it like that, and I think usually I expect that from all types of movies. It's very rare that it's something that could technically be labelled as a romantic comedy, although I think that does it a disservice to just call it that.
Yeah, we coined relationship comedy.
Yeah.
In our review, so.
I also think it's just as much of a drama as a comedy, because it's dealing with so many things. But no, Big Sick, wonderful cast, wonderful script. Matt actually gave me a movie I ended up loving, so it's rare, but it happens. So there you go.
It was bound to happen eventually.
I know. What's your number 3, Connor?
My number 3 has been mentioned already. This is Get Out. All the reasons you already listed. Of course, it's a fantastic piece of cinema. You mentioned how you've never seen horror tackle this subject before. Like I say, I've never seen horror do cultural appropriation. It's something that you don't actually see in cinema that much in general, because people try and typically I feel like you shy away from it. You try and be authentic.
Well, here's the thing though. Like this is why it's important that we've actually got a black director making this movie. I don't think this movie can come from someone else. I don't think it can come from a white director.
No, of course not.
I think this is genuinely a case of I think you can have a man direct a female focused movie. You can have a female direct a man focused movie. You can have you can have different races direct movies about other characters. You can have all that stuff, but I think there's definitely certain things and certain types of subjects and certain stuff that I don't think like a white director could get the nuance of all these little moments that are in this film and really deliver them all in the way that it's authentic, the way it is.
I would always invite them to try if they and do their shot, but I don't think it'll ever be quite as good.
No.
And you feel it's very personal to Jordan Peele, because you feel like the scene at the party where people are just grilling him about being black, you feel like that's been his entire life. And so the fact that he could put the audience in those shoes and be like, oh man, again? This? Like, it's a skill right there.
Because what I loved about it is I think going in I was expecting like, okay, so it's a horror movie about these white guys, this white family kidnapping black people, right? So we've got a horror movie there. I didn't really know what the overall, what these little things it was going to be like dipping into though, because that wasn't really in the trailer as much. So,
no, it wasn't.
So when I watched it and it was like all the awkward stuff with the dad and it's like, okay, right, and it got to the point where he's at the party and they're all saying things, I'm like, I'm actually kind of starting to get what this is about. You know, like you say, appropriation, that's the exact word to use. I'm like,
well, and that gets thrown around on the internet so wrong, and people start to murky it up, but I think Connor nailed it with how Get Out handles it.
Yeah.
Versus, just decrying it everywhere else. It's like, well, no, it's, just go watch Get Out to see
it's a wonderfully authentic and unique, and hopefully it's not too unique in the future. I'm hoping that this is opening the door.
This is the start more than anything.
To get more of these unique voices and like actually explore these things, because I think films and other media like this are very good for giving like people views into things they can't otherwise experience.
It drags the public consciousness forward.
Yeah.
So the only other thing I'd say is I watched this with my girlfriend because she wanted to watch all the Best Picture nominations, so we were working through them, and she hates horror movies. Like I have never managed to talk her into watching a horror movie before. I've always just got to watch them on my own. This one, it was like, well, it's Best Picture, you got to watch it, come on. And then she loved it, and so I think as a testament to how it can, because it's got such a strong message, it transcends being just a horror movie.
Honestly, my next recommendations would be stuff like Night of the Living Dead and The Mist, because those also transcend just being horror movies. There's messages in there, there's things that are about. It Follows even, there's another one. It's about something. But yeah, also, Churches released a song called Get Out, and the chorus is like, get out, get out, get out. And we've said Get Out so much that now in my head all I'm hearing is Churches singing that song.
You mean the band Churches?
Was that Matt?
You mean the band Churches?
Yeah, that band, yeah.
Okay. That's a bean out of you.
It's pronounced Churches, I believe.
It is, yeah. They were very smart, and they put the V there just so that when you search it on Google, that they show up and not, churches.
Yeah, Matt, I don't want to break this to you, but this is not how you spell Jigowatts. This is for search purposes.
I know, it's always bothered me. I just let it go. It's like, crazy Scotsman can't spell, I'm not going to break it to him.
Jesus Christ. Alright, where are we? That was number...
We're on me.
3.
You're number 3, Matt.
So my 3, you guys ready for this? You guys ready? Attention? Because this is where...
Break attention. Oh, yeah, break attention, Matt. This is too much for me. I can't take it anymore.
My number 3 is Kong Skull Island. Now, this is probably the movie I want to go back and watch the most out of any of them, because it's a good, fun time. It's not the greatest made movie. I think there are parts, like action sequences, that are really well directed. The characters are as stock as they get.
I'm glad, Matt. We were doing the last video, and we were talking about Best Actor and Actress. I'm like, I hope Matt doesn't bring someone from Kong Skull Island, because no.
I was sure he was going to say Brie Larson.
Yeah. I was about to say, this movie did make me want to see Brie Larson play Lois Lane one day.
Yes.
But she had that firecracker, journalist thing down.
Isn't that a shame that Amy Adams is actually perfect for that goddamn role, mate?
I know.
You can say the same. Cavill the same as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. I mean, a lot of the people in that movies.
Those are great.
Perfect.
But just you have a big giant ape just knocking the crap out of creatures. This is the movie that made me realize I love B movies. Like, it's not just I had realized Raiders of the Lost Ark is as great and a masterpiece that is. It's a B movie, and that's my favorite movie of all time. So, Kong Skull Island fits in right in there. It's a struggle every time I don't know what to watch. My brain's like, you got Skull Island for Christmas. It's right there for you to watch.
How many times have you seen this movie?
As of right now, my count's about 6-ish. Yeah, it's
been out less than a year, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not even a year. It'll be a year, middle of this month. But
well, I mean, just enjoy the victory lap, because Godzilla's coming to beat him up, and I cannot wait.
Oh no, they're going to become best friends. They're going to fight. They're going to fight to a draw.
Yeah, okay.
And then
standard
because I'm out next. I've got Godzilla King of the Monsters next year, I believe.
Yeah.
And
just what it does there, where it feels like, all right, this could be in the same universe as Godzilla, and there's seeds that are planted throughout. So
I mean, no spoilers, but let's just say there's some things teased for the next Godzilla movie in the post-credit sequence that I was like,
yeah. But I irrationally love this movie. I can't help it.
I mean, I like it.
It's irrational.
I had a fun time with the movie. Obviously, it's not in my top 10. If that's not obvious.
But I did when we started making this list. This is the first movie I wrote down. So
not to spoil my top 2, but it's definitely not in it.
Yeah, it's definitely not Kong.
2 and 1 are definitely movies that I are better made all around. You know, we can say so. Kong Skull Island, number 3.
My number 3 is War for the Planet of the Apes. Is that the first hat trick, or did you have Get Out already, Matt? Early on.
I'm not saying I haven't had it yet.
Okay. Yet. Very good.
At least it's above Kong.
True. But I'm with the apes. I've got some apes to back up Matt here. I mean, we spoke about this obviously a fair bit already, but like, I just want to add that I was genuinely surprised that they hid what this movie was about. So that when I saw it in the theatre, and it got to like a point in the first act where it really became clear this is what this movie is, that I got really excited because they'd kept it from me, and I was just like, okay, I'm emotional, I'm ready for this, I'm with Caesar for the ride, I want to do this. And you know, just all the heartache, all the punishment that goes through. There's so many great sad scenes, there's great happy scenes, there's great comedy in there, which, you know, like,
that ape became one of my favorite characters.
And of course the girl who can't speak. A lot of mute characters and things recently, but she like, you know, she's this heart in the movie that's sort of like showing that, you know, humanity's not all bad, Caesar. Like, don't give up on humanity. Remember Franco. You know, basically.
Remember Jason Clarke's character, who I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
remember him too.
I feel like, you know, no movie, I think, at least in a pure story sense, had me in an emotional roller coaster the same way this did all year, because I feel like I was into it the entire time. It never lost me. I was always either tense or upset or whatever the movie was trying to do to me, it was achieving. It was making me care for characters. I think from the very first movie in this franchise, we had the 4 core apes. We had Rocket, we had Maurice, the big orangutan, and like we had this group, and it was like we've seen them grow over the 4 films, and this was them now as the older characters, and they had kids, and it was just touching, and nailed it. It nailed the ending. It was like, trilogy, one of the best trilogies.
And Woody
of all time.
Harrelson, such a great villain. Like he had a pretty good year. I mean, you had this 3 billboards, 2 vastly different characters, and I love them in both.
Yeah. So all right, Connor, number 2.
Number 2 is The Shape of Water. I love this movie.
Wait, I know what you rated this. That means you.
Yeah.
What's number 1 then?
We'll get there.
Confused.
But
right,
Shape of Water, I love every second of this movie. There's, it's got such a strong message at its core. It's a gorgeous movie to look at. It pushes the boundaries with sequences where I'm like, there's a question of like, should this work? And when I think about it afterwards, I'm like, should it work? In the moment, that didn't cross my mind at all, because I'm so into it, of like going, oh, this is fantastic. This is glorious. I'm loving this.
So you guys, I watched this last night, and you guys were betting where I would fall, right? And I believe it was, who said I would fall at the midpoint? Right?
Me, I said, because I gave it a 6, he gave it a 10, so I guess you'd give it an 8.
And that's about right, because there are parts of this movie where I'm just like, what is going, like, Guillermo, what is going on? What are you doing? And then there are other parts where I'm just like, all right, this is, I love a good period piece. I love, the Cold War connections, and but other parts I'm just like, and then, oh man, but Shannon, he's so good in it. Sally Hawkins, so good. Richard Jenkins too. Like, let's not forget about him.
And let's not forget Doug Jones.
Yeah, and Doug Jones, which, man, I had a side, as I'm watching it, I messaged Timmy, our resident Hellboy, and I was like, yo, is this, tell me this is connected by the end.
Yeah, all I could think was, why doesn't Abe Sapien use any of these powers in Hellboy? Because this is a clear prequel to Hellboy, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly. But I think it's credit to him that, obviously he's known for doing roles under all this heavy makeup and prosthetics, but the way he manages to, with his body language, bring such emotion to the role is a real credit to him.
Yeah, I mean, the way that he just crouches, there's a scene where he's crouching, and it's just so primal. Like, there's like, how does a human do that with their body? And he aces, Yeah.
All right, Matt, number 2.
So my number 2 is The Big Sick. So I know
Right.
previously I had said this is, my top movie, and then some stuff has happened that has changed
Oh,
it.
Tragedy.
Yeah,
Tragedy in his life.
No, not so much tragedy, but there's been some things, and I'll explain it when I get to one. But it's a fantastic movie. Unlike Pete, I was more familiar with the story, because I've listened to Camille and Emily on podcasts discuss this before, and so the fact that they decided to make a movie, and then that movie works in the way that it does, and Pete covered it a few numbers ago. I can't add too much to that. It's just it's a fun romp. It's another one that if it's on, like if I catch it, I'm just watching it. If a friend's watching it when I go over to their house, I'm sucked in, no matter what point it's on. But yeah, Big Sick, fantastic.
All right. My number 2 is Split. And if you told me before 2017,
M. Night's back, baby.
yeah, M. Night Shyamalan is going to have a movie in your top 10, I'd be like, nah. And even though we had the trailer already, I was like, okay, this looks better than his last bunch of movies, but I'm not feeling it. Like, I mean, it looks good, but I'm not feeling the idea that this is going to be that good. And like, Jesus, there's complaints. I think the therapist character is pretty ropey as an actor, and she's very miss exposition. But
Yeah.
everything's McAvoy's doing, everything with Anna Taylor-Joy, who's also in The Witch. She's kind of become the new Scream Queen of the modern age. Fantastic. The tension, the build to what McAvoy's character, then S and brackets becomes great, and then ultimately what it actually ends up being, the final sort of like scene or two that kind of reveal, oh, this is actually this. It makes so much sense to me, and like works so well with one of my favorite movies, and it fits. Like it showed me this is how you do this if you're going to do it. And I think it does some great stuff where like Anna Taylor-Joy's character has her own character arc. She has her own demons that she's facing, and that's very much part of the movie. But also, like, it's everyone in here who's damaged is damaged by someone else. There's definitely like great themes in there. And then on top of that, the actual like horror stuff in the last act is actually genuinely pretty creepy. There's like some proper creepy movement in the way things are happening, and
when the reveal happens and you find out where everything's going on, it makes it that much more creepy.
And one of the things that I think all of M. Night's good movies do, and again, big gap between this one and then the last good movie.
I mean, once you hit rock bottom, there's only to go but up, and here proved he's on his way back. So,
yeah.
But what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, the thing about all his good movies is that they take something either supernatural or otherworldly, whether it be ghosts or aliens or whatever it is, and then in the case of this movie. Or Unbreakable, it's obviously superhero, is they take it and he puts it into a world that feels a bit more grounded and real, but without losing the magic of what the thing is, and it feels like it's actually in that world, and this kind of does that with what this is doing, and I'll leave it there. I'll just say that I am far more optimistic for Glass than I think I would have been had you told me it was going to happen.
Yeah, and this was one too that a spoiler came out about it, and well, so that bothered you, but it made me go see it. Like, I stopped what I was doing that weekend.
I hate that was stolen from me, that moment. That moment was stolen from me because websites couldn't hold their shit together.
Yeah. And Pete tells me that, and I was like, oh, what's he talking about? So I search it out, and I was like, oh, okay, I am going right now. And I actually got in a fight with my wife. Because she's like, you're going right now, this instant? And I was like, yeah. It's showing in 20 minutes.
There's a moment where a certain music starts playing towards the end that would have made me lose my mind. And as it was, the initial moment was, I hate those bastards who spoiled this. And then I get into it and I was happy about what it was doing. But there was a moment of anger before I could be happy. And it upsets me that was ruined for me. And I saw it on the Monday after it came out. I saw it like 3-4 days after release day.
Yeah, by now we're dancing around it and we're being very considerate. But by now
we're being
everyone
nice about
knows.
it. Yeah,
it's been out for over a year. So, but go check it out, guys. Like it's worth seeing.
Something I really appreciated about that movie is that there's not a big twist. You know, that's Shyamalan's bit. You know, that's the thing. Obviously, he's famous for is the twists. It's the twists that get you.
The twist is there is no twist.
And I mean, obviously, the thing it reveals at the end is kind of a twist in a way, but not in this.
No, that's the twist that people are talking about. Yeah. But it's not a twist to the plot. It doesn't have any impact on anything that's happened in anything else.
Yeah.
And that's fine, yeah.
No, I agree.
Well, that brings us to the number ones. We're about to reveal them all. So Connor's up first with his number one. And I know we gave Shape of Water a 10 out of 10, so I'm curious to see what this number one is. And the fact that he had at least 2 10s in 1 year.
I feel like, you know, I typically have 2 or 3 10s in a year, but that's still a very small percentage out of, you know, 50 to 70 movies.
And I'll have a 10 maybe every 3 or 4 years. That's how rare my 10s seem to be. But
okay. You know, when I'm watching this many movies, I typically have a
I'm just not a rating slut, is basically what I'm saying. Like, I withhold the 10.
I gotta know what this is. I'm racking my brain.
This is the thing. I gave this a 10 on a review. And you hate me for it then.
Well, clearly I just don't remember it.
No, you hate me for it then, but this is Star Wars Last Jedi.
Oh yeah, how did I forget Star Wars?
Yeah, I was like, was it not the big giveaway that I'm 9 in?
Do you know what it is? It's because I've written that movie off for being mediocre and being a mess. It didn't even occur to me.
It's 7, and I couldn't help myself. I put the Force Awakens was in, I think it was 2 that year.
Yeah, but you also had Kong at 3, so shut up, Matt.
Yeah, no.
Kong is better than The Last Jedi. I'll stand up for Matt here.
Yeah, I might have seen Star Wars in the theater 3 times. That said, more people to go with. Once everyone saw Kong with me, they're like, "You're an embarrassment. We can't go with you again." So that's the only reason. But I've made up for it since. So enough out of you.
No, this is a movie that made me feel things. Like that's it. Like I just can't help but love it because the feelings that it gives me.
Yeah, I felt things. Don't get me wrong, I felt things.
But the feelings that it gave me every time I've seen it, which is 4 times now. Every single time, I am feeling so many things. I'm like overwhelmed with emotion, and it's like
there are parts that I agree, and
so good.
There are other parts where my emotion is just like, I don't want to say rage because that means I care too much, but there are parts that I'm just like, so we're doing this now, okay. I mean, I brought that up when it popped up on my list, but yeah.
And obviously, when we did a review, we talked about. I'm a fan of the structure, the unconventional structure. I think it works for me. I know Peter hates it with a passion, but it really works for me with what it's doing and the way the beats are played out.
For me, everything just kind of feels like everything just exists to make an excuse for the rest of the plot to happen. And obviously, any movie that's ever been made, the script, things happen so the rest of the plot can happen. But in this, it's like, I'm just seeing the framework. I'm not seeing the finished thing and being into the story. I'm seeing the building blocks and how they're kind of shoddily, hanging together.
Well, barely. I like how JJ took basically, well, let's just say, like your building blocks, and he carefully assembled them, and then Ryan Johnson just went and kicked them over and stacked them.
To put it this way, like a good movie to me, like if I'm picking like Get Out, for example, right? That's one we've all mentioned at some point. Well, Matt's not mentioned it yet, but we'll see in a minute. I feel like the movie is a finished structure. It's a furnished building. It is a beautiful finished building where everything's in place, everything's nice and decorated and neat. And then Star Wars The Last Jedi is a shoddily game of Jenga that's ready to tumble at any moment.
But that's the excitement. You walk into the building, go, it could fall. It could fall. It's not falling. It could fall. It's not going to fall? Is it going to fall? Don't sneeze.
And there's a point, I think, 2/3 through where it does tumble down.
No. See, something I love about the story. It has 2 final acts, and there's 2 feelings you're going to have potentially. Is when you get to the second last act is, oh, there's more, or there's more.
I think it's guilty, although in a much worse way than the Civil War was guilty of. And you have all this big action stuff, and then the proper final act happens, and it's actually technically better, but you're so deflated because you've just sat through 40 minutes of the other action stuff to get there.
Some of my favorite Star Wars shots come from this movie.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous movie.
Yeah, and then I mean, the character Kylo Ren takes leaps and bounds here. He goes from basically Vader fanboy to a character, like an actual, I feel like
I could talk for hours on Kylo Ren and some of his motivations and the stuff that's going on
Yeah.
there.
I could talk about how
me and my
wide
wife
his
talk
chest
about it
is.
routinely, because we all know how much I love the Millennium Falcon, and she calls it that hunk of junk, just based off of Kylo Ren, which is weird that usually she doesn't identify with the villain, but she loves him, and I don't understand why. I mean, it's probably because he's swole, as all get out, but
Yeah. It's more about the topless scene, Matt, than anything else. I mean, obviously, my opinions are my feelings on Star Wars.
Well noted.
Jedi are well noted at this point.
Yes.
I think it's a mess, but
Well, I'm a sucker. I'm not gonna lie. This is my Kong. That
I'm glad you admit that.
At least I had the integrity not to put Kong at 1.
But this is the thing. Kong doesn't make you feel the things that this does. Like you're saying, you always want to watch it. You always have a good time. Yeah. But does Kong give you a tear in your eye?
Maybe. The John C. Reilly stuff is strong, Connor. It's strong.
Dear.
Okay. All right. Well, go on, Matt. Go on. Tell us it's Get Out.
Yeah, number one. What's your number one?
Get Out. It is. I couldn't. For the longest time, I had The Big Sick at number 1, and then, this is another one that I've watched a bunch since it's come out on home release. And every time I watch it, I find something new. Every time there's a story beat that you can interpret it in a different way than from the first time you watched it.
I don't rewatch movies as much as you guys. I haven't seen anything on my top 10 more than once.
Well, see what happens is, I'll show this. So, this was a movie we watched on Christmas with either Christmas or Thanksgiving with my mother-in-law, and she loves Twilight Zone, so we knew this was going to be up her alley, and it ended up being her favorite movie of the end of the year too. It
could be a Twilight Zone episode. That's a good. Yeah. I could see that.
yeah. So she ended up. We showed her on that night Twilight Zone and La La Land, and she was bored to tears with La La Land, and she goes, I kind of want to watch Get Out again.
Women after my own heart.
Yeah, so, so watch that with her, and then I've watched it again since. I've watched it another couple times because it's been on HBO. So that's tend to be when I rewatch things, when I come across them on TV.
I'm similar. I like Star Wars. I made a point of going to rewatch in the cinema quite a bit, and then home release or whatnot. Yeah, but the only other movie I've seen more than once on my top 10 is Baby Driver, and that was a case of, it's available here, I'll watch it.
Yeah. But again, it has staying power. I mean, Jordan Peele's direction, everything, you guys have brought it up. I've run out of plot.
That's
we've not got much left to say.
Yeah, I've talked about it.
And I was justified. I didn't move it up to number 1 until we started recording. And I was like, it was a last minute addition. I'm just like, well, no. I really am rooting it for it to win Best Picture. I know I'm setting myself up for heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
But I could definitely see.
I'll be delighted and surprised if it does, but I don't think it's happening.
Yeah.
No, and obviously by the time people are watching this, they already know whether or not. It's
we were recording this before the Oscars, but
if it doesn't win, guys, just know I'm crying in the corner.
Matt cried last night.
So, at least to me then, my number 1. And yeah, it is a ghost story, which Matt was making eyes at me for because he was kind of noticing that it was popping up in a few of the categories in the last video. This is by far the most unique time I had with a film in 2017. This is something I saw, and a couple of minutes into, I'm like, this is going to be special because I'm already feeling like it's different. I'm already feeling like it's doing something unique. Like it's saying, no, this is going to be a movie where it does an idea that I've never seen before. And it's a movie about what happens after you die. But not in like, you go to heaven. Like, no. So Casey Affleck's character dies and he gets up in the morning. It's the premise of the movie, Matt. Come on.
I know.
And he is a ghost, but he's like the classic ghost, a kid's outfit where there's just a sheet over their head with the 2 eye holes. That's all it is. And he is just around as a ghost.
I did not know this.
Did you know? That's like the poster, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought that's just creative license. Like,
no. He's in a white sheet the entire film. You never see his face again. And he is around as a ghost, as like his wife has been left behind. She's there, and no one sees him. Like he's just a ghost, and it's all about just what he's observing after he dies, and how he can't speak or communicate, and he's observing, and it's just everything it does. The music, there's flashbacks every so often to, like, parts of his life as they were happening, and it's like the good parts, the flaws, everything else. Eventually, like, his wife moves out of the house they were in because she wants a fresh start, and then there's new people living there, and he's there. There's some stuff that pokes fun of what you'd expect from a ghost movie, where it's just like, ultimately he's just like, well, I'm a ghost, I'll play the part. But again,
here's
without
my
dialogue.
question: does he try and walk through a wall? Like, can he go through walls, or does he still use the doors?
It never really kind of does that, actually. It's what I think is interesting about that question is I think the film intentionally leaves that vague. Like, you never see him open a door or touch anything, but
He'll just follow people through if he's doing that, or he'll just be in the room that he needs to be in when the shot starts.
It kind of intentionally never really shows you him having to, like, deal with that problem. And I think the idea there is that it just is. Like, he just always is. Like, he's there.
No, I get it. I'm just, when you mentioned it was playing with things, that was the first thing that popped into my
plays
mind.
it with something else, but there's other stuff that it does that's kind of fun.
Oh, man. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to watch this movie without laughing every time I see him with the sheet on.
Oh, no. It's such a unique quality. It's shot in 4:3. So much of it is silent because, like, there's no dialogue. Like, he'll be there and there's someone else there on their own. And every so often, there's definitely some philosophical stuff that's brought up at some point. It's very much a unique experience. It's maybe just, like, sort of the idea. And also it has that thing, how Lost in Translation has that ending where, what did they say to her? Everyone always says, you don't get to hear what you whispered to her in her ear. This has something like that, where you don't know what something said, and you're left to wonder it at the end of the movie. And I think, and interestingly, the only person who knows, even the director doesn't know what was said, because it was left to Rooney Mara to actually just make the choice, and she didn't tell anyone what she actually did. And I think it's fascinating that no one actually knows.
It's one of those where it doesn't really matter then, does it?
It doesn't, no, but it's fun to theorize.
It's fun for conversation.
That's a trivia.
The movie.
Yeah. It's one of these movies where it's really, it gets a little bit, I mean, I'm almost tempted to say, not in an outlandish way, but it does start to sort of contemplate, like what is life, what is eternity, what is these things. I almost want to say it's a little tiny touch Grant Morrison, and just in the way that it kind of explores just the big ideas, but not in a storytelling technique kind of way, if that makes sense. But it's just it's very haunting, and I don't mean that as a pun. It is kind of haunting and ethereal, and it just, you're just in it. Like, turn the lights out, be in it for the 95 minutes or however long it lasts. It's not a super long movie. It's very tight. Lots of long shots, long takes. It's got an atmosphere. It's got a mood, and it's
a shame because I did want to check this out, but now we've done this, it'll probably be a while. Yeah,
but it's poking at ideas that I don't typically see get poked at. I mean, obviously it's dealing with love and loss and all the other things that are not typically brought up, but this is dealing with everything else. And because that's the funny thing, ultimately the movie's not really about him; it's about everyone he leaves behind, because he doesn't exist anymore from a strict sense. But it's dealing with it through this lens, and it's kind of fascinating. And what does life mean? Blah 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 blah, all the rest of it. But it is by far the most unique film I watched this year, and I always champion inventiveness when it works, and for me this worked quite a bit. So, A Ghost Story is my number one.
Huh?
Okay.
Ta-da! That's the top 10s. If you want to yell out some honourable mentions that we think no one said, you think...
I just want to point out how much crossover me and Pete had. Like,
that was quite a bit. More than expected, for sure.
Yeah, me too. So...
Yeah. I mean... Yeah, you're not as mainstream scummy as I was expecting, Matt. Nice balance. Nice balance.
I just want to point out, obviously, I didn't want to mention it because I didn't want it to see, because it could have been on my list higher, is The Big Sick. This is actually my 11. I was talking to Matt just before we started recording that.
Yep.
I didn't know where I was going to come down 10 or 11 between that and Lady Bird until I just said it when I got to record it. I wasn't sure which I was going to go with right up till that moment.
Yeah, other things. I want to mention The Babysitter, which was a blast. That was like a fun Netflix movie.
Yeah, I'll take that.
It came down between Happy Death Day and The Babysitter, but I had more fun at Happy Death Day.
I like Happy Death Day a bit more, but I love both.
Yeah.
Yeah, Connor's over there being thingy.
I think Babysitter is head and shoulders above Happy Death Day.
The Ritual I mentioned, of course, in the category video, but I think I want to mention that here as well. It's very good. I dug Power Rangers a lot. I
was going to bring that up.
Surprisingly so. Like, they made my top 10.
I had this in my first draft, it was in my top 10, and then as I started adding and moving, it fell off.
Yeah. And then, of course, Colossal I mentioned in the last video as well, but I like that a lot, so that's an honorable mention. John Wick 2 was pretty good. Obviously, Wonder Woman was much better than I think a lot of us were expecting before it came out.
Not top 10, or maybe 15 for me.
It's a dead on 15 for me.
I wanted to mention... you just said it, and so I don't have it written down. You said Wonder Woman. What was
John
it?
Wick 2?
John Wick, yeah. Atomic Blonde, the other side of that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with that.
I did not. I actually turned that off after like 30 minutes. But
yeah. I enjoyed Atomic Blonde a lot more than I did John Wick 2.
Yeah, as did I. Although John Wick 1 is still, I think, the standard of those, because that's all the same creative team.
I like John Wick 2 more than 1, but maybe I'm...
Really?
Yeah, maybe I'm being weird.
But yeah, I had a lot of fun with Charlize in Atomic Blonde, and it felt, again, of that Cold War era.
Some other stuff...
Proper spy.
And that's probably why I don't like it, because I don't really like spy movies. All things, just to sort of throw them out there, I mentioned Raw in the last video. I also, surprisingly, Cult of Chucky was a blast. If you like that franchise,
really?
Cult of Chucky was great.
Oh, man.
He has explained parts of it to me when it came up relevant to the TV news, and it sounds insane. And I'm like, okay, I get it.
It embraces all of its continuity and just does wacky things. Because the entire franchise has had one writer. The one guy's been writing it since the start of the series, way back in the 80s.
That's insane.
And he's just doing so much with it. And I was really... Me and Tim were pleasantly really surprised by it. So that was great. Yeah, obviously a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, the other thing I want to mention that is a lot higher than I expect it to be was Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. I typically not huge on biopics, but this was a beautiful movie, is the way I'd describe it.
That got tarnished for me by the family coming out and saying that it's not really a biopic as much as a...
yeah, but it's styled as one in the way it's presented, so it kind of still fits that role, but it's a lot better than I was expected. It really is.
And then the last one I want to mention was Kingman, The Golden Circle. I had a lot of fun with that movie. It's popcorn as all get out.
Do you know, I had a blast with it. I had some serious problems with it as well.
Yeah.
But I can't. The action and everything else that was great.
I'll never not hear Country Roads the same way.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh yeah, and obviously as we're talking about action, we mentioned John Wick. Atomic Blonde, Kingsman. It's unfair we should mention the Villainess.
Oh yeah, Blood of the Immortal.
All those things had good action, but Villainess had the best action of the year.
Oh, sure.
The two movies that have made the biggest impact on me as we've recorded this are The Villainous and Ghost Story. So, but
I feel like you'll like one and hate the other, just based on knowing you.
Yeah, we'll see.
I like that I've inspired you to try it though, Matt. I like I inspired that.
Yeah. I mean, again, Pete's Dragon. There's
I've actually had that on my to watch list since it came out, and I didn't realize it was the same guy who did A Ghost Story. Now I'm actually more even more so. I'm like
Pete's Dragon. I'd say is a very good and competent kids movie.
Yeah,
it's exactly what it should be.
I like the trailer. It's funny actually.
Not a family movie.
In terms of being excited going forward this year, I'm actually surprised how much I'm excited for I Kill Giants. We did the trailer for that in the news a few weeks ago, and I'm like, man, this looks really good.
That's out in what, like April?
Something like that. I don't know, but
I am so ready for Ready Player One. I'm ready for Spielberg.
Yeah, I'm skeptical, but I'm giving it a try. Obviously.
I'm much closer to the Spielberg thing than you guys are, and I saw the latest TV spot while watching TV the other day, and a T-Rex from Jurassic Park shows up, and it's chasing a DeLorean, and I jumped out of my seat, and I got a little dusty. So.
My number one excited, if we're doing excited, there's a few, but my number one is by far The Predator, because Shane Black's directed a Predator movie. I'm in.
See, mine is Incredibles 2, as it stands right now.
Yeah, Incredibles 2 for me as well.
Those trailers have done nothing but go, okay, this feels right. It doesn't feel like some of the other Pixar were like, well, we just want to make these because money. This is just like, oh no, Brad Bird had this idea, and it's coming at the right time.
Also,
I'm so excited for that.
Shout out to A Quiet Place, which looks interesting.
It does actually. Yeah,
I'm digging those vibes.
What else? What else that's not superhero related? I'm trying to think.
I'm intrigued. No, I'm not going to say outright excited. I'm intrigued to see Han Solo.
Yes.
Those
TV spots came in, and
I know.
It's
It
looking
might be the
better.
greatest thing.
It's looking better than I expected.
I'll tell you, it's going to be better than Han Solo.
Go on.
Skyscraper.
Oh, Pete knows where to push my button.
Skyscraper might be more fun. I'm not going to dispute that.
The Rock is
know if
taking
it'll be
on a
better
skyscraper, and he's going to win. Damn it!
Wait,
I
wait a
don't know
minute,
if it'll be a better movie, but
two things that I love. Right. Now, I'm beyond Skyscraper now. The Rock, gigantic apes. Yeah, Rampage.
Oh yeah, Rampage is going to be your.
Rampage is going to be a mess. But I'm going to
Rampage is going to be next year's Kong, isn't it?
It might be. Oh man, when you said Skyscraper, that just automatically that. There's another one. There's so much coming out. But Solo, what I was going to say is that might be the greatest thing Ron Howard's given us since his daughter Bryce Dallas Howard. So, that doesn't say much for Ron Howard's career.
I quite liked Rush.
It's okay.
Rush is a solid movie. I wouldn't say it was great.
Yeah,
but...
but that's his Apollo 13. Solid movie. That's
solid, but not great. Yeah.
Yeah. So
hey, if Solo ends up solid, then that's a win.
That's all I need. That's all I need. So. But yeah,
I want it to be a mess. I want to see you crying over the.
Thing is, I'm really torn because part of me does want it to be a mess because I just kind of want to experience the mess.
We already had a mess of a Star Wars movie, and that was Rogue One. So.
I mean, we did have a mess of a Star Wars movie, but not in a decade and a half.
I want it to be a mess. I want to see the tears. I want to see the tears.
No, there won't be tears because I'm too prepared for tears on this one.
Oh, I'm excited.
You got Amelia Clarke who can barely act. You got I don't know what else you got.
Hey, when she does Green String Dragon, she's pretty damn good. All right, I don't know how that's going to translate to Star Wars, but
look, she'll forever be the shitty Sarah Connor in the shitty Terminator movie to me now.
You don't watch Game of Thrones?
I saw a season in a chunk.
Oh, but we got Donald Glover as the smoothest guy in the galaxy.
That cape and that coat.
Look, the only positive I can say is that Donald Glover's excellent. But nah. I don't care about Star Wars. Honestly, nothing would please me more than Star Wars just going away for like a decade again, just so I don't have to talk about it.
It's not happening.
I know it's not happening.
I just want Star Wars to feel special again. That's all. That's all I need.
Oh, it's not going to do that either if it's going to happen every year, Matt.
Oh no, I know.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with
Once a year is still special to me. This one's weird because obviously it's like 4 months, 5 months later.
Yeah.
But typically the once a year, I'm like, oh, this still feels special. It's not like three a year, like 2, 3 a year. That's too much.
The temptation to just say you two can do the review, I'll take that one out is so tempting. Just
I need to see you watch Solo. I need you to watch it.
I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
No, I need him to watch it.
Anyways,
yeah, we're done.
But no, we didn't even talk about the Marvel movies or the DC movie.
Well, I mean, obviously Black Panther was already out, and that's good. I'm hoping Infinity War is good because I'm hoping that the conclusion or the start of the conclusion to what's been building since Avengers 1 is as big and fun as it should be. Obviously, Civil War left me feeling a little bit deflated, so I'm hoping that I don't feel that way with this, but we'll see.
I'll watch it. I have zero excitement, but maybe I'll be surprised.
Yeah, and then Ant-Man and Wasp. I think if that holds the tone of the first, I'll be okay.
Yeah, it'll be fun, but nothing special.
Fun, enjoyable time, but nothing special.
Yeah.
No, and then we have Aquaman, who stole Justice League for me. So.
Every time you say that, Matt, I'm confused by it, but yeah, it's fine.
I'm intrigued to see it because it's the most consistent DC sound, in terms of the news cycle.
Hey,
it's been pretty consistent. Okay, this is the director.
What I'll say is the back of that Captain Marvel Shazam suit looked pretty good. We don't see the front yet. The front might be terrible, but the back looks quite good.
Kind of looked like he was wearing foam muscles, but I don't care. I don't
do it. Put him in foam muscles if you have to.
I don't. Yeah. So, but that said, I'm looking forward to 2018. It wasn't that hard to put together a 2017 list, but I feel next year I'm gonna have a lot of
Well, the guy who directed It Follows has got a new movie out this year, so I'm set.
I'm in a weird place where I've seen 3 movies from 2018 so far. One I quite liked. I thought, yeah, that's good. One I'm like, it's all right, and then one I hated. So
after we're done recording, I'm gonna ask you what those were. So
okay.
All right.
Let's wrap this up. I gotta go prep for the Oscars, guys.
Right.
Yeah, me too.
Wesker, do you want to outro the show for me? For the audio people, I've got my cat up at the mic. He's Going to outro for us.
Not the usual cat either.
Not the usual cat. This is the stunt double for Salem in the new Sabrina the Teenage Witch. He's got a role. He's quite pleased with it.
You wish.
He does.
Speaking of that, actually, I really liked the Black Coat's Daughter, which had the new Sabrina in it, as well as what's her face, Emma Roberts from Scream Queens and stuff. That was a decent little horror movie. Anyway, so. That is us. That has been our awards. So hopefully you've had fun with us listening to our picks. Let us know what your top 10 of 2017 is in the comments. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mail_fuzz for channel updates. We did reviews for many of these movies, not all of them, but many of them on the channel over the past year or so. So have a search and find them for that. But that is us. So thank you once again. Get us on patreon.com/mailfuzztv if you want to support the channel. There's a link to that in the description. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again. My cat is hungry. He's wanting fed. So he's upset that we've been recording for so long. So thank you once again, guys. Keep watching movies, and we'll see you next time.